Very latest as we get it, but for now we're live in Mount Auburn. Dan Griffin, WLWT News 5.
All right, Dan, new on WLWT. A man found dead inside a home, and tonight his wife charged with murder. The shooting happened on Jacobs Ridge Road in Verona, Kentucky. WLWT News 5's Brian Hamrick leading the way on this developing story.
Well, the home where the man was shot was in a remote part of Gallatin County, up a dirt road. Even the nearest neighbor would have had a hard time hearing the shots. And police say there was more than one of them. The quiet of a home in the woods shattered by gunfire. When it was over, Robert Hiles was dead. His wife, Deborah Hiles, charged with murder. Court documents say Deborah used a semi-automatic weapon and shot Robert multiple times. It does not say why. The home is on Jacobs Ridge Road off 42 in Gallatin County. Neighbors say the families lived there for less than a year. The couple was married in 2016. Both posted on Facebook pictures showing them together, along with notes indicating they were happy. But at about 9:30 last night, something went wrong. Dispatcher said Deborah called 911 and told them she shot her husband. 12 hours later, she was arrested. Deborah Hiles is set for arraignment October 10th. Brian Hamrick, WLWT News 5.
We have new information tonight about 3 Forest Hills employees put on administrative leave. Now, according to documents that we've obtained now, they were all caught up in a sexting scandal using school accounts and devices. So we found hundreds of sexually explicit emails, text messages, and even phone conversations between Administrative Assistant Beth Brulport and Director of Business Operations Ray Johnson, also Brulport, and Treasurer Rick Topher. The communication was on district-owned accounts, work cell phones, as well as emails, and it was between 2014 and 2017 that all this was going on. The district calls this a violation of its school policy. Johnson handed in his resignation on Monday. Brulport and Topher are now on paid leave pending the final outcome of that district investigation.
Well, this is an odd story. You don't hear about this too often. Reports of a small plane dropping a package while flying over Waynesville prompted an investigation. The mystery package caused the bomb squad to visit New Burlington around Furnace Oglesby Road. The Ohio State Highway Patrol says it was a plastic and styrofoam box about the size of a computer. They have not said what was inside, but investigators now say it is not hazardous and it may not have even come from the plane.
A warning tonight about an attempted child enticement in Milford. Police say that on Sunday night, 2 Hispanic men approached a 16-year-old girl along Happy Hollow Road. They were in a white van with rust around the wheel wells. The men offered the teenager a ride. She luckily ran away and immediately reported the incident. Police have increased patrols in that area, but also want to remind you to be aware of your surroundings and to report any suspicious activity. Tonight we are getting a clearer picture of what went wrong at the Ohio State Fair when that ride broke apart, killing one person and injuring several others.
After going through hundreds of documents and hearing countless stories, what investigators now know and how one woman avoided disaster. That's coming up at 5:30.
But first, Blink Cincinnati is almost here, and we have some exciting new details for you tonight about the light, art, and sound show about to take over Cincinnati.
And after climbing into the 80s again this afternoon, clouds are beginning to roll in, and with those clouds, maybe even 1 or 2 stray sprinkles this evening. I'll let you know when we stand a better chance of getting wet. I have a full look at your forecast after the break. You're watching Cincinnati's WLWT News 5.
In the middle of the darkness, there were bright lights shining in Las Vegas.
Among the 58 killed in the mass shooting was a nurse from Tennessee who saved his wife's life. And tonight, Heather Melton is sharing her husband's heroism.
I know he saved my life. When we realized that gunshots were going off and that it wasn't just fireworks like everybody thought, I said, let's get down. And he said, no, we'll get trampled, let's go. And he wrapped his arms around my back. And as we started to run, I felt him get shot in the back. And we fell to the ground. At that point, there was still gunfire all around us, and people were lying on the ground. And I tried to perform CPR on him on the field.
Heather Melton, an orthopedic surgeon, says that Sonny was her surgical assistant at a Tennessee hospital. The two so in love They found a way to work in the same operating room. They were in Vegas celebrating their first wedding anniversary.
A man ran out and put Sonny over his shoulder and ran across the field. He was put in the back of a pickup truck with 2 other victims, and he performed CPR on Sonny the entire way to the hospital. Nobody teaches you how to do this. Life just happens, and I don't know. I mean, I feel like at this point, it's just almost breath by breath. Sometimes you feel like you can't breathe, and other times you just cherish the moments that you had together.
Heather says she still doesn't know who the stranger is who helped her, but the man never left her side. The girlfriend of the Las Vegas gunman is back in the U.S. tonight.
All right, 62-year-old Mary Lou Danley was escorted by FBI agents through the Los Angeles airport overnight. She was in the Philippines at the time when the shooting took place. Danley's sisters, who don't want to be identified, describe Mary Lou as a, quote, good person.
And I know that she don't know anything as well like us. She was sent away. She was sent away so that she will be not there to interfere of what is planning.
She didn't even know that she's going to the Philippines until Steve said, "Oh, Mary Lou, I found you a cheap ticket to the Philippines."
Investigators are calling her a person of interest right now and hope that she can at least fill in some of the blanks as to what led Stephen Paddock to kill 58 people, concert goers, and then himself.
The Las Vegas shooting has everyone asking about a little-known gun accessory now under the microscope. What is a bump stock, and how does it allow a semi-automatic rifle to fire faster? WLWT investigative reporter Todd Dykes gets you answers. What he found coming up at 5:30.
All right, so some heavy news there. Let's lighten things up a little bit now, and a brand new festival could become your new favorite Cincinnati event.
Yeah, don't blink or you'll miss it. It's Blink Cincinnati. It kicks off next week with lights and art that will bring huge crowds to downtown and over the Rhine. We're getting new details about what to expect from WLWT News 5's Andrew Setters.
Blink Cincinnati, a brand new art festival, is just over a week away. Lights and sounds, arts and experiences, all starting here at the Freedom Center on the Banks.
We're really expecting about 500,000 people to see this.
Blink is going to be a big deal. Organizers released more information about this event, which grew out of Luminosity. A similar kind of light show experience will be part of Blink, but spread over 20 city blocks.
We're going to be projecting onto buildings with 3 to 5 minute shows that are animated, that map to the architecture, or some of them are murals that we're going to project onto.
Hop on the streetcar, hop off anywhere along the route, take in the sights and sounds. Beyond the light show, there will be interactive art, giant teeter-totters at the Freedom Center, a light-up peacock, and something called a luminarium, which you walk through to experience.
Ours is about half the size of a football field, and it will take over the Civic Lawn at Washington Park.
Almost everything that's part of Blink is free, and they have been planning this for 2 years to be the biggest event of its kind in the world. The Grand Marshal of the parade that will kick off Blink Cincinnati next Thursday, Bootsy Collins, just the kind of guy you want out front leading the crowd for something that's all about spectacle. From downtown, Andrew Setters, WLWT News 5.
Well, along with everything to see, there will also be live music on 6 stages and a miniature version of Summer Fair that will give you a chance to bring art home with you. Big fan of art right here. Blink begins Thursday the 12th and runs through the 15th.
It looks really beautiful. All right, soccer fans. Soccer fans have a reason to cheer tonight. Cincinnati is moving forward in our quest now to host the 2026 World Cup. The Queen City is now among 25 American cities chosen to finalize its hosting plans. So officials from potential cities, which also, by the way, include 7 from Mexico and Canada, will travel to Houston, Texas next month to meet with the United Bid Committee team.
Well, speaking of art, the canvas has been the sky lately in greater Cincinnati. It's been beautiful the last couple days, but will things be changing? We check in with our chief meteorologist, Kevin Robinson. Hey, Kev.
Hey, good evening, Mike and Sheree. Yeah, things are subtly starting to change a little bit, but it's not going to be a drastic change. Let me show you what's happening outside right now. We've been talking about the past couple of days, this cold front that's kind of been stationed off to our west. Well, here comes those clouds we were anticipating to roll in here. But notice, though, as the showers attempt to move in, the air's just a little bit too dry. In fact, here's a 2-hour time lapse, and you can see those showers, how they've really been evaporating as they move our away. So yes, we're going to see an increase in the cloud cover this evening, but I'm really not anticipating much, if at all, any rain across the area. There may be a few sprinkles up here across parts of Butler County from Collinsville back towards Millville. But again, a lot of this I don't even think is reaching the ground. So for the most part, this is more representative of increase in cloud cover. But I'm not going to rule out, if you're over around Versailles, out towards Milan, for example, eventually coming east on 50 towards Dillsboro, this may even move into parts of Dearborn County. I won't rule out the chance for a very brief sprinkle here or there over the next hour or so. For most of us, though, it's actually going to be a pretty nice evening. I know you see the clouds rolling in and you're probably thinking, uh-oh, here comes the rain. Not really the case. Again, aside from a stray shower, don't expect much of really anything else. In fact, half of the area is still enjoying lots of sunshine out there. You can see the clouds beginning to roll in at the moment. Nice and toasty October day, 81 right now at the airport. And you can even feel a little bit of humidity in the air with that dew point currently in the low 60s. Very warm again this afternoon with all that sunshine to start out. Just about everyone climbed well into the 80s today. It's still in the 80s. Maysville at 84, Loveland at 80, 80 in Blanchester. You can see to our west as those clouds roll in, the temperatures do come down just a little bit. And again, as a result, some of those showers have brought temperatures down into the low 70s in parts of Southeast Indiana. But here in the metro through the evening, I think our temperatures are going to hover in the 70s as it remains relatively on the dry side. Watch Futurecast here. You see that pocket of rain in Southeast Indiana. Watch what happens. It falls apart very quickly. Here's 7 o'clock. Notice it really never makes it into Cincinnati proper. And then overnight, it's relatively quiet. We keep skies mostly cloudy. Thursday looks like our best chance to see widespread rains, especially from around the metro and points north. I think tomorrow is your best bet at seeing any substantial rains across the area. That will go away Thursday evening, and then Thursday night we'll be left with some clouds. And then Friday we get the sun back, and temperatures are actually going to soar back into the 80s. So for tonight, mostly cloudy and milder, 63 for your overnight low. And then for tomorrow, some off and on rain. It will be kind of a damp day at times, 72 for your high. Here's your 7-day forecast. We get the sun back Friday, temperatures soaring to the 80s. And look at our weekend. Quite comfortable. As a matter of fact, a little on the warm side for October, with highs in the low to mid 80s. And most of the weekend, in terms of things you'll be planning to do outdoors, those times should be dry.
All right, Kevin, thanks so much. Wells Fargo now paying back some homeowners for fees they shouldn't have been charged.
What they're accused of doing during the borrowing process and who is eligible for money back.
And she invented the daytime TV talk show. You know her. Her legacy keeps on giving back right here in Cincinnati. It is Ruth Lyons' birthday today, and we're going to show you how her children's fund continues to help local sick kids.
Well, today, a very special day for our WLWT family. It is Ruth Lyons' birthday.
And each year we turn October 4th into our kickoff for the Ruth Lyons Children's Fund. So we visited Children's Hospital this week to see how the money is really helping bring comfort to patients every day. We met a mother who says the Ruth Lyons Children's Fund has helped her children cope while their baby sister is being treated in the hospital.
I mean, she's been here since April, so this place has been amazing to us. To actually be able to let them come in, do activities, get acquainted with her, do things with her, for her, things of that nature.
So tonight at 6 o'clock, you're going to learn much more about Ruth Lyons' legacy and her motivation behind asking her fans at the time, almost 80 years ago, to help make the lives of hospitalized children a little brighter.
Well, good news for Wells Fargo customers. The banking giant is hoping to win back trust after the scandal where they wrongly hit homeowners with fees. Wells Fargo says it will refund some customers who paid mortgage rate lock extension fees between 2013 and February of this year. An internal review found mortgage borrowers were charged for missing a deadline to lock the interest rate, even though the delays were Wells Fargo's fault.
An open water swimming venue for the 2020 Tokyo Olympics has tested high for bacteria levels. So tests on the water found E. coli bacteria levels 20 times higher than the accepted limit. Fecal bacteria levels were 7 times higher than normal. The park is the venue for marathon swimming and triathlon events. An International Olympic Committee official blames the high bacteria levels on rain during the test period.
We are just out of September, and in Denver, look what they're doing. Skiers, snowboarders hitting the slopes early and some in short sleeves. Pretty impressive fall snowstorm, dumping more than a foot of snow in some spots there in the mountains. Many official ski slopes are still not open, but that's not stopping many from hitting the backcountry.
All right, well, the investigation into the Ohio State Fair accident is now finally officially over.
Yeah, hundreds of documents from interviews to photos, now public record. The new information that we've learned going over all of that paperwork.
But first, a device to change the ammunition capacity of a gun. That's what police say the Las Vegas gunman had on several of the weapons he used on Sunday night. The question now, is it legal? WLWT investigates when we come back.
You're watching WLWT News 5, leading the way.
3 days after a gunman opens fire there at that country music concert in Las Vegas, there are still more questions than answers.
Today, the girlfriend of Stephen Paddock arrived back in the U.S. to be questioned by FBI agents. Marilu Danley was named as a person of interest initially. The 62-year-old has been in her native Philippines. Investigators still do not know why Paddock fired on that crowd and how much his girlfriend knew or maybe didn't know. Investigators met her at the airport today and they are questioning her right now. Her sisters insist she didn't know anything and that he's the one who simply bought her a flight back to the Philippines. 58 people were killed, more than 500 hurt. Today, the president and first lady, as you saw there, made a stop in Vegas and thanked first responders.
It's an incredible thing to see. This tremendous bravery. The police department, incredible. The people themselves, incredible. People leaving ambulances to have somebody else go because they thought they were hurt, even more so.
President Trump and the First Lady met privately with some of the victims of the shooting inside hospital rooms.
Stephen Paddock altered as many as 12 guns with a device called a bump stock. The device that you see here ranges anywhere from $200 to $500. It can change a semi-automatic weapon into a killing machine. And one of the lingering questions is, why did he have it? And what's even more important, is it legal? WLWT News 5's investigative reporter Todd Dykes went searching for answers. And Todd, the answer is yes, it is legal?
Yeah, Mike, bump stocks are currently legal, but some federal lawmakers are already saying they shouldn't be. I visited 2 gun stores today to find out what a bump stock is. One store was sold out. The other shop has never carried the gun accessory. Before Stephen Paddock fired a slew of bullets in rapid succession during Sunday night's massacre in Las Vegas, it's likely only serious gun enthusiasts had ever heard of a bump stock.
It's a bit of a novelty item.
Jim Lentz, who runs Premier Shooting and Training Center in Westchester, says a bump stock is an accessory that replaces the original stock on a semi-automatic rifle. A rifle stock is the piece that rests against the shooter's shoulder.
Guns operate, semi-automatic is how fast you pull the trigger. So what this does is it allows the recoil of the firearm to pull the trigger. So you actually pull forward with the firearm and the recoil of the gun actually forces the trigger to be pulled,
unleashing a barrage of bullets in seconds. Bump stocks hit the market about a decade ago, and as other gun shops stocked up, Lentz took a pass.
The concept was buy a bunch of these in the industry, buy a bunch of these because soon they will be illegal. I don't have any problem with people that do it personally, but for us, it's just a decision that, this doesn't fit in with our core values, so we're not going to do it.
Lentz knows the mass shooting in Las Vegas has put bump stocks in the crosshairs of lawmakers critical of America's gun culture. He even thinks some of his own customers would be open to banning the devices.
I do think that eventually you would see that most likely being legislated against. I really do.
Now, Jim Lentz says he'd rather sell tourniquets and concealed carry handguns than bump stocks. In his opinion, they waste ammunition and make guns less accurate. Todd Dykes, WLWT News 5.
All right, interesting stuff, Todd. Thank you. One gun store worker telling Todd that prices for bump stocks are already surging online as gun owners worry that they may end up being outlawed.
Meanwhile, Vegas is slowly getting back to normal. The famous Las Vegas Strip is now back open here tonight. It all comes as the city gets ready for another big outdoor event since Sunday's shooting. And our team coverage continues tonight with Brian Heap and the security concerns over this upcoming event.
Las Vegas is a city with no shortage of big events, and starting tomorrow, Bike Fest is happening in downtown. It's the first big outdoor event since Sunday's massacre, and as you would expect, safety is at top of mind. The stage is set.
It's Las Vegas. Vegas has got to go on.
The tents are going up, and vendors are getting their displays in order.
Hopefully it brings out a large crowd of the locals, plus brings people in from the outside of the area.
Bike Fest 2017 is a celebration of motorcycle life.
Your heart goes out to everyone that was there, and you just know that those organizers, those event organizers, how they're feeling inside.
But after Sunday's concert massacre,
if God forbid that happened at one of our events,
there's a much different feel.
How horrible that would be to us. And knowing that they did everything they possibly could to prepare for any kind of activity like that, and it's just, sometimes things are just out of your control.
Bike Fest organizers tell me that since Sunday's tragedy, they've been in close contact with Las Vegas police, working on everything they can do to enhance security measures so that the people who come down here know they are as safe as they could possibly be. In Las Vegas, I'm Brian Heap. Back to you.
Now, we have continuing coverage of Sunday's attack coming up just a little later on in our newscast, being ready for mass casualty situations, the training local nurses undergo to make sure they're prepared. Plus, we're going to be updating the very latest developments on the investigation. Just go to our website anytime, WLWT.com.
Tonight, getting a clearer picture of what went wrong at the Ohio State Fair. A teenager was killed, several other people seriously hurt when that Fireball ride malfunctioned. That was back in July. Hundreds of pages of documents, photos, audio records now made public. WLWT News 5's Karen Johnson spent the day going through them. She's live for us with what she has learned. Karen.
And Mike, we learned today that one of those people who flew out of her seat and was seriously injured actually switched seats right before the ride started.
We've got 6 injured here. They flew off of the ride.
Radio traffic and witness statements.
It was shocking. Everything was so quick.
Paint an urgent scene.
I'm going to need fire on here with extraction equipment. They're trapped inside the ride. They're going to need to be cut out.
A couple of people were trapped after a row of 4 seats snapped from its base of the Fireball ride at the Ohio State Fair.
All I remember is hearing the loud crash of the car snapping off the ride, and then just people screaming and screaming and screaming to stop, stop, stop.
Jacob Andrews, who was on the ride, told investigators he had his eyes closed. He did not see 2 others who were in the seats closest to the camera fly out of their spots. For the first time tonight, we're seeing damage caused when the bottom of that car hit this support arm. Witnesses told investigators one of the 2 who came out of their seats was asked to switch spots right before the ride started.
She didn't fit, so they actually made her get up and move to a whole different seat.
That was the one that was actually involved in the incident that broke free from the arm, was the orange one. So the lady that was a little heavier needed to be moved, was moved to the one that actually came off, correct? Okay.
She survived the accident. The teen sitting next to her, 18-year-old Tyler Jarrell, was killed. And a total of 7 people were hurt in the accident. Now, investigators ruled that corrosion on one of the support arms is what caused the ride to break apart. I can tell you the Franklin County prosecutor did look into the case, but he said he didn't feel there was any evidence that justified any criminal charges to be filed. Reporting live tonight in Warren County, Karen Johnson, WLWT News 5.
Karen, thank you. The family of the man who died says they do intend to file a wrongful death lawsuit.
Also new tonight, just one day after a man is killed in an Avondale shooting, Cincinnati police have made an arrest. Police have now charged 52-year-old Michael Fitzgerald with murder and felony assault. Mike Carpenter and another man were both shot just yesterday in an Oak Street apartment. Carpenter died. At last report, the other victim was listed in critical condition. A man accused of attacking an Uber driver and then going after police here. Court documents say Matthew Zipperstein threatened the driver with a knife, then slashed the car's back tires when police finally got there. They say he then fought with them and actually injured one of their officers. The 36-year-old is charged with assault and vandalism. His attorney says he had a brain operation and wants a psychological evaluation now. Bond set at $60,000.
A 16-year-old boy from Canton, Ohio has died after a skateboarding incident. Police say that Dallas Swagger was trying to hold on to a moving car while skating when he fell and he hit his head. Investigators say on Friday, 3 of his friends were in the car and they were recording all of this at the time. Dallas died Tuesday from his injuries. Charges against the teenagers are now pending.
A new study shows that 2 in 5 Ohio households are struggling to come up with enough resources to provide just basic necessities. That's about 1.8 million Ohio households. The Ohio United Way report is all part of a nationwide effort now to inform policy and budgetary debates. 14% of Ohio households live in poverty. Another 26% are working poor households. According to this study, 67% of Ohio jobs pay less than $20 an hour.
Recovery efforts still underway in Puerto Rico. The island continues to rebuild after that devastating Hurricane Maria. Volunteers have been very, very busy organizing boxes filled with enough supplies to last a person an entire week. The mayor of San Juan playing a major part in the project, coordinating everything and making sure the boxes go to the most needed areas. Most of the supplies come from private donations.
So we're doing this through faith-based organizations, through churches, through communal kitchens that are being set up, through ONGs, and through just community leaders.
The mayor says they helped 3,000 families in just the last 2 days.
Social media giant Twitter has now agreed to appear for a public hearing in connection to a Senate committee probe into Russia's interference in the 2016 presidential election. That hearing is now set for November 1st. The committee has been examining how fake accounts on Facebook and Twitter were used by Russians to promote propaganda and misinformation during last year's election. Facebook will also be part of that hearing.
Being ready in times of crisis.
The life-saving training some local nurses underwent in the wake of the deadly Las Vegas shooting.
Plus, changing the music hall experience, the partnership that will give you a taste of Over the Rhine favorites.
And some subtle changes beginning to take place this evening. Clouds are rolling in, and accompanying those clouds, maybe 1 or 2 stray showers. I'll discuss the threat for rain this evening and when we could see better chances. I have a full look at your forecast after the break. You're watching Cincinnati's WLWT News 5.
When a victim in a mass shooting situation like what we saw in Vegas over the weekend is in the hands of medical personnel, extreme protocol is needed to weigh the best option for saving a life.
And today, nurses from across our area showed up to learn how to prepare for these kinds of situations.
WLWT News 5's Megan Mitchell sat in on today's training class at the Drake Center.
The big question here is, how do medical personnel make those critical decisions when multiple victims arrive at the hospital? Today, nurses from across Greater Cincinnati learn how to do just that to save as many lives as possible. Hundreds of victims in Las Vegas streaming in droves, with only so many medical professionals available on hand.
From a nursing standpoint of view, from a human standpoint of view, it was overwhelming. Overwhelming.
Hospital employees here in our region are learning the best ways to treat mass casualty situations. Local nurses came together for a trauma conference in the wake of the largest mass shooting in modern U.S. history. The goal is for medical responders to know which procedures to take. Many times, it isn't easy.
We have to be able to triage to know, is this bleeding something that we can control? Is this bleeding out of our hands?
Through a series of interactive demonstrations and lectures, nurses learn the most effective ways to do things like stop a bleeding patient, triage patients, and resuscitation. These methods hope to keep as many people alive as possible.
Who's your immediate? Who is going to the OR? Who is your walking wounded? So we force them to do that to teach them how do you do that in a stressful situation.
The nurses ended this afternoon through actual case studies of real-life situations. In Hartwell, Megan Mitchell, WLWT News 5.